podcast with your host Sana, where we explore healing, growth, and what it really means to live with intention. Now, today's episode is one that will resonate deeply with many of you, especially if you have ever felt trapped in toxic dynamics, whether in relationships or within the family systems we are born into. And I'm honored to be joined by a very incredible guest, Marie Birtel. She's an author, journalist, psychological counselor, and someone whose personal story shines through in her powerful book, I Love You When, which explores covert narcissism and toxic family systems through the eyes of her fictional character, Emma. Now, Mary brings both depth and clarity to complex emotional terrain. And today we are talking about how to recognize these repeating negative patterns and why do we stay in those harmful dynamics, and most importantly, how to break free from all those shackles. So let's quickly dive into this super essential conversation only on the mindful living. So, Mary, welcome to the show, and it's such an honor to have you with us.
Thank you so much for having me and giving me the space today to talk about this very, very important topic.
Absolutely, absolutely. Mary, before we talk about your book and the journey of Emma, would you like to share a bit about your personal journey? What exactly pushed or maybe motivated you to pen this beautiful book?
Yes. So I am a psychological counselor. I'm 40 years old. I'm married to my husband, and we live in France and in Germany. And
Okay.
so I would say my journey started 4 years ago, to really realize that some things in my personal life are not as they should be. And
Mhm.
this was also the motivation to write this book, because there were a lot of things going on and I couldn't really understand them. And I always say I wrote the book that I would have liked to read to understand more about what's going on in my life. And so let me dive into this very quickly. I started writing when I was very young already, because writing for me was a tool to explore experiences and make them again, yeah, bringing up them in my mind, but also to feel a little bit more. And so this was always a tool for me. And
Mhm.
as a very, very good PhD in New York, in the moment that she's very also known for the topic of narcissism. And
Mhm.
she once said, "You would not dive into this topic or make this topic so elementary in your own life if you've never experienced it yourself." So narcissism was the topic that I had in my own family, and it took me almost 40 years to discover it, because it's not always so open as we can see in politics or, yeah, some economies.
Mhm.
Sometimes there's also covert narcissistic patterns that are really, really not easy to unpattern. And my motivation was, when I wrote the book, first of all, it was my own healing path. That's why I also support now people that are writing their own book and their story, because it's important to go through trauma, and also to educate people about covert narcissism also in your own family systems, and to make it clear that you always have the choice when you are living on this earth. Only that because it's your mom or it's your dad doesn't mean you have to take abuse emotionally or also physically without saying or changing something. This is the message that I want to spread.
I totally agree with your message. And that is such a beautiful motivation. When you mention about, I mean, we hear the word narcissism or narcissistic in many of in multiple contexts. However, covert narcissism, or as you discovered something 40 years later. I mean, I think it's really really important to address this and help people understand, identify, become aware that, as exactly you said, just because it's um, biologically or emotionally or in fact professionally as well
Mhm.
related, we don't have to abide by that. We don't have to comply by that. So, with that, Mary, your book follows Emma, a woman who doesn't realize until much later in life that her family's dynamic was far from healthy. So, why exactly, can you share why exactly, what keeps us blind to all these toxic patterns for so long, especially when they come from the closest ones of us?
Yeah, very good question. So the first thing that keeps us blind is our self, because it's a very, I think it's the betrayal trauma is the hardest trauma you can go through. This is my opinion, because people can take trauma, event trauma, or things when something happens in your life. But as long as you have people around you that are supportive and really love you for who you are and not for what you do for them, you can go through horrendous trauma. You can go through horrendous things in your life. But if you are betrayed by somebody who should be the one who gives you safety, who supports you, and this is probably the first thing, your mom or your dad,
Mhm.
this is something that yourself, psychologically wise, doesn't want to know. And this is when trauma happens. So let me give you an example. When I grew up with a twin brother and a little older brother, a little bit older, like 1.5 years old. And all us three have been raised in a family that was from outside and materialistical wise fine. So this is also something why it's very hard to discover this kind of abuse, because as long from outside in a materialistical world, everything is there. Like you look healthy, you are fed, you have nice clothes on, and you have a good education, and your parents look like they are normal people. Nobody would understand that behind the four, yeah, behind in the house, there can be abuse. And when you are a child, you come into this world. Nobody tells you how your parents have to be. So you take this for normal. And this is also when patterns come. For example, when somebody as a young girl gets physically abused by his dad, like hit or, yeah. Um, this is the way how we children learn love, being loved. So it means this is my dad. My dad
Mhm.
should be supportive and take care of me. So if he's giving me a slap or he's abusive, this means he loves me. And this is when it comes that afterwards, when you are grown up and you are meeting the first times man in your life, and you get into a relationship, you can and you have not worked through this trauma. You can have 5 guys in front of you, and 4 of them are totally nice guys, but you will definitely choose the one who's abusive, because this is for you the thing. This is love. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. That is, that is, I mean, that's what we see. That's what we experience. And, sometimes we confuse love with loyalty.
Yes.
We do not question the definitions. We do not question the orders or whatever has been taught to us or told to us. Um,
Yes.
or survival with affection. And it's like from childhood, our nervous system, our brain, our minds are are wired to normalize kind of dysfunction, and these patterns, they um, dominate our actions and reactions in our teenage or adulthood as well. So
Yeah.
uh, Do you think healing begins when we question the definitions when we were taught as a kids, or because sometimes when we question, we get a pushback. We are again maybe we are told that you are not supposed to question this. If you are questioning, you are a bad you know girl or a bad boy. You are not a part of the society if you push back
Yeah.
on this. So what can you
Mm.
say on that?
Mm. Well, this is because this is why I always talk about a system. And a family system is everybody is born into a family system. Even if the dad would not be present because he left the mom when she was pregnant, or there are so many examples of how you can come into this world. But there's definitely, even if there's no physical presence, a presence of somebody who gave his family also traumas with it. So I think family is something that in our nowadays world is still something holy. Also, the role of the mother, because it's an old. I think it's also coming a little bit from the religious part. You know, okay, you never have to question your mom. She gave you this life. This is a common sense. It's like,
Exactly.
how can you be so unthankful? I gave you my body, you know? But in another way, nobody from of us asked for it, you know? There are some people who are spiritual, then religious, and I have to say all of these is good as long as you are not misusing them. And this is a misuse. It's like, what could you answer to this? What you don't have any chance. And this is when it comes to, okay, I gave you birth. So this does mean for the rest of my life, I can treat you like nothing or even less because I gave you this life. And this is not the good thing. So, and also, when a system is traumatized, I can also give you an example with my brothers. All of us have been through trauma because my parents were even harder with my father was even harder with my brothers. He would say, "You are not allowed to cry. You have to be strong men." My mother would be like, and he was always calling me like very, very bad names when it comes to, when I was 19 and I had my first experiences with boys. I would not really dare because everything that I did was he would call me the S word. So usually your own dad doesn't do it. He should not. But for me also this was quite normal. And and what happens then is when you're traumatized, like trauma is a part of yourself that goes from the conscious to the unconscious. Because the unconscious, you are not feeling it anymore. It's a safe space for the part that realizes, oh, this is my dad is abusive. I need to go in survival mode. So in a way, our psychology saves us, but it needs to save us because as a child we can't just leave the system. So every child even if it's in the same system has a different role, and every child has also a different resilience. The gender is also putting reason why people are going through this like this or differently. So my way of coping with this would be eating disorders. I would not feel healthy, good in my body. I had a cancer when I was 21, which was, very uncommon. Um, and also my brothers would also show symptoms like being suicidal, depressive, very young age. But the difference was at a certain point, I took the chance and opened my eyes. And then I said, I have to change something. And I requested the first time the system and the belief sentences that they were always telling themselves, like my parents. And this was it. This was the moment when everybody closely said, we are done with you. You are crazy. That's what they also do. This is the most easy part, also socially wise, still with women. It's the most easy thing to call a woman, she's crazy. because a lot of people still believe it, even if they have met that this woman has never been crazy. So this is also, you see, it's not only in a family system, it's also the system as it is that we have at the moment. Also, it's still a very patriarchal system, where men can say bad things about women, and it's not even requesting. So my brothers both decided to not look at their own trauma, because if they would do it, they would need to face that their parents have been abusers. So they don't want to look at it because they are, yeah, I would not say strong enough, Doesn't mean that they are not strong, but in that very moment, they are not able to look at it. So they are also in denial. And this means 4 against 1. So it's very easy. And my mother would tell things about me. I'm a heroin addict. I am whatever, and I've never taken drugs in my life. So, and people would believe it. And this is what is called a smear campaign. And the only reason why it is so easy to do smear campaigns is that all people at the moment are, not all, but a lot of people are still in this mind, yeah, women are crazy. When they are emotional, when they are screaming, when they are in pain and screaming, they are the crazy ones. And this what makes it so easy. And also that I'm talking about narcissism, so narcissism in a way of the step before psychopathy, and this means a total lack of empathy. Okay, totally, they can't feel anything. So your own mother would tell things about you nobody can even think about it that is healthy. And this is also what makes it so easy, because a mother who cooks and is also to the outside, yeah, taking care of the children regarding feeding and washing clothes, is a good mom. But that she's totally lacking empathy, that she's envying her own daughter because she's young, and this is narcissistic and this sick. It's a sickness. It's a mental disorder.
I agree. I agree.
Mm.
And but unfortunately, it is so complicated that the society, the people, they completely ignore it,
Yeah.
because whatever complies with the template it has been set, that is good. Whatever doesn't work according to the template is bad. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, crazy. And I give you another example. I'm 40 years old now, and I'm very open with it because I would always have liked to be a mom. But it didn't happen until now. So during the time my mother would start the smear campaign, she would tell also everybody, yes, well, Marie is still not married and she's not having a child, so she's envying her brothers. And also things like this is, very, very easy in this society to put into the heads of the people, because they would say, yes, yes, exactly. That might be the reason because why this woman is going crazy, you know?
True, true. And you know, I, I have experienced not exactly all of these, but especially in my uh transitional years, from a child to a teenage,
Mm-hmm.
where we get to experience the outer world, when we get to meet, boys,
Mm-hmm.
that sudden change of getting into womanhood, um that is kind of, that was kind of contrary to what was expected from me by my parents. And my mother used to tell me, why are you so focused on makeup, why are you so focused on your hair?
Mm-hmm.
This change you're having, I'm not able to understand.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm trying to defy, then either got beaten up or maybe I got scolded,
Mm-hmm.
kind of, outcasted. Uh, emotionally. So there was a time when it was completely cold. I mean, my mother did not speak with me. I did not have any contact with her for almost 5 years, just because I kind of defied that, template of getting into school, college, then graduating, and then getting married. That's it. And
Mm-hmm.
uh, coming back to the word we mentioned, which is covert narcissism. In your book, Mary, it is one of the most powerful things addressed. So, which is something often misunderstood or minimized. So, how does this form of manipulation differ from overt abuse, and why is it so difficult to name?
Okay, so very good question. So overt narcissism is that's something you can see like you have to you when you understand that a narcissist is not able to feel anything, they are not happy also in their world. You know, they need others to feel something. And it's like if they would have dolls that they tell what to do, what to wear. So it's with children. If the child is a beautiful girl and gets compliments by the teacher, for example, oh, she's good at school, or she's such a nice girl, you know, then the mother feels the compliment not for the girl but for herself. So it's like an extension that narcissists need. Um, Covert narcissism means that the narcissist doesn't put himself or herself in the middle of the spot. These are the kind of narcissists we know from media and politics. They are like obviously egocentric and always put themselves in the middle of it. Covert is they are not they don't want to be put in the middle of it. They are getting you into a relationship by um, being in a victim role. So that means when you are not able to love unconditionally, you have to put conditions. So, for example, your mom didn't talk to you because you were putting makeup on. This is called silent treatment. Just an example. Maybe it wasn't exactly like this, but for example, and in the moment you would do what she wants, she would talk again. It's like a conditioning, you know? And this is unconditional love. And she would the person who would try to put you in conditional love would tell you, "Oh, I am for me, it's so important because I'm your mom. I only want you to be happy. And you are causing so much pain now to me because I'm so worried for you, you know?" So you as a child, you understand, oh, I'm putting my mother in a bad situation and I don't want to cause her to be unhappy because I needed to learn to always make her happy. But it's not your job as a child. You are not there to make your parents happy. It's your life. You are an individual, you know? Um, and understanding that you are not there to live for your parent is very hard when you've never learned it differently. So this is covert. It means you are responsible. You are getting the role without ever asking for it. You are getting the responsibility to make your mother happy. And if it means you have to support her in any way, you have to not be with the man because she doesn't like him. You have to take a job that is closer to her house so you can spend more time with her. Doesn't it means like when she wants to be on the phone with you 5 times per day and you only achieve to call her 4 times a day and she's not happy, it's your fault. So automatically you get into the system and you do what she wants to make her happy, you know, because you know exactly inside if you don't do it, she will punish you by silent treatment, tell everybody my daughter is so egoistic, she's not nice. now she's with this strange guy and he's not good to her. So she would tell everybody, and it doesn't have to be, it doesn't mean that it's only this one guy, it's always the same. They try to totally keep you for themselves until they die. And this is not what parents do when they are healthy, because healthy parents want to educate you to be happy and to be also safe in this world, how to, be in this world and also not be dependent on them anymore, because one day they will be not there anymore. And you have to have your own life and your own family and your own friends. So this is, yeah, the healthy and the unhealthy one.
Ah, yeah. And- Yeah, I mean, in some cultures or almost all the cultures, it will be kind of a huge, setback
Yeah.
to hear, oh my God, you are straight away blaming everything
Yes.
to your parents. Uh, but rationally, logically thinking, I think yes, because if for our whole lives we are emotionally completely clinged to our parents, I mean, it's going to completely destroy your self identity, and this quite erosion of self is what so many people miss, and the worst thing is it doesn't show up immediately. It's kind of a whispering. It's either
Yes.
that it's like a quite internal earthquake to realize that something is definitely wrong, and it happened to me. Uh, Unfortunately, in my late 20s, early 30s, that I began to realize, I mean, my parents are not going to be there always with me. So I have to carve out a separate, my own world for me where I can thrive, I can survive at least. So I
Yeah.
completely agree with you.
Yes. And also, if I might come back to this, to blame the parents, the good news is, um, you can always also without your parents work on these patterns. You don't need your parents to be more healthy. And I also have to say, my case is very extreme. So usually you can also, try to get in conversation with your parents and tell them and show them a little bit like, okay, mom, dad, this was not nice. I don't feel seen, blah, blah, blah. Because meaning that you are traumatized doesn't mean that you are a narcissist. This is very different. So it is a nice thing in a family also, when it's a family that you can talk about things through, you can discuss. And then even if you have a certain culture going on in the background, if your parents love you, they will try to at least understand you because they love you. And there's also kind of healing possible. I tried a very long time to stay in the contact with my family, because the worst thing that I think is to really get out of contact. But if it comes to the moment when you have to choose your life or to stay in contact, I chose to be alive. This was the thing, and I can work through it now without it, and it's my life. Like, I can now help others with it. I always see the positive thing. And yeah, this is also important to not stick with it and stay in this moment. Now I can't do anything because I need my parents to change things. You don't need to. You can definitely work a lot through your own trauma, and also this is where it comes to transgenerational trauma. You even do a good job for the whole family system. You know.
Mm.
Mhm.
And how does this translate in the context of relationships, Mari? Because um, from my experience, if I would say, um, getting trapped into an abusive or a toxic relationship with a narcissist partner
Mm.
destroys you internally, completely destroys you. And the worst part is many survivors, they feel guilt or grief uh, when they try to cut it off, and
Yes.
they do not wish to share anything with anyone else because they feel ashamed or scared, of judgment.
Yeah.
So how can we honor this pain of letting go without drowning in it?
It takes time. So first thing is the most important, don't be so hard on yourself, because you have to realize, for example, when it took you, in my case, 37 years to understand it, um, I can't be fine and perfect again and feeling great after 3 years, but I can assure it's going better and better, but you have to work through it. And this is also very important. You have to find somebody who is specialized in this topic, because when it comes to therapists, and I know this from France and Germany at least, but I also know this also from the US sometimes, because I also work with clients from the US. Um, if you have not really been expert in this kind of matter, um, it's it can re-traumatize you, because then you go to see somebody like an expert and he says, well, yeah, it's not the fault of your dad, everything. You can't blame your parents for everything. You have to, they don't, it's a lack of understanding, because in university they did not really teach it. So this is also why a lot I feel it's good how many books now are coming out, how many experts are coming out on social media also, and experts like really leading to healing. Um, and this is the most important. So, and also opening up to friends sometimes can be hurtful, because if they don't believe you, let them go, because I have really lost a lot of friends when I started, because I told somebody about it, and I said I don't really understand why my mother would do this and this, and my friend would answer to but it's your mom, don't be so hard with her. But I told them what happened. I told them, like, my father would slap us until we were bleeding. My brother wasn't able to go to school for 1 week, and my mother would know about it, and she would laugh. She would stand beside us and laugh and say, "Yes, you deserve this." So I have to say, this is not a nice thing. And I told them, and still they would say, "Oh, your poor mom." So I got also out of contact after a while with these people, because I understood that in a way they don't want to understand me. Sometimes it's also because they should also maybe look in their own systems then and understand that maybe they should also be differently dealing with their parents. So this is very tough. You have to be very careful who you talk to at this time. And it's very important to have professional help on a regular base, because also healing is not like, you go and see the mountain and you just go up, 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 up. It's like coming in waves, because
Yes.
it's a mixture also of grief. It's anger, suppressed anger for a long period of time, and then also grieving, because you are grieving probably a lot, many years of your life, because you may have, acted differently or done different decisions. And also grieving the parents that you never had, grieving a beautiful childhood. And there are people who have beautiful childhoods. I know this, but I have to say, I'm envying, not envying, but I'm like, wow, this is so beautiful if you have a beautiful childhood. So I'm grieving still, like, why didn't I have this sometimes? Yeah, and this is normal, and going through these also feelings and say, yes, it triggers me when somebody tells me that, oh, still, I got married last year and I didn't have anybody from my family coming. And I was happy because it was the most beautiful wedding. I only had like people that I really love and they love me and my husband. But I grieve the situation that I would never go to a dressing shop with my mother and choose the dress or things like that. Yeah.
Mm. So before we wrap up, Mary,
Yes.
I have heard experts say that you attract what you are. but that kind of always felt like, it's kind of our fault.
Yes,
We
that's
attracted.
bad. Well, I get goosebumps when you say this.
So, um, for someone listening right now who keeps ending up in emotionally unavailable or, with um, abusive dynamics, whether it's romantic or otherwise, what are the first steps to identify and stop these cycles from continuing?
Yes, okay. So the first step is really to stop and maybe for a certain time really give yourself priority number one. Really prioritize to take the free time that you have to put it in your own personality. Um, and the good news is also you are able to get out of it because you are not a victim forever. You are a victim as long as you don't understand, but you can always choose to get help, read books. I have a link, a freebie that you can do, for example, to go a little bit inside yourself and write down a little bit. And I'm questioning some things in this freebie, so you can go through this. And during that time, I would really recommend you not to speak too much about what is going on with people that are surrounding you, because it's most important what you feel. So it has really to be like, center yourself, find somebody that is willing to work with you on a therapy base, coaching base that you like and you know as an expert, and look at your patterns. Look at your patterns and where they are coming from. This is the first important step. And then go through it, work through it, be patient with yourself, be very egoistic for yourself, and don't believe this positive psychology shit anymore, because this is something that I really feel is something very dangerous for victims of narcissistic abuse. This, like, exactly what you said. You attract what you are. No, not a narcissist attracts narcissists. Narcissists are attracted by empaths. This is something that is more easy to put the blame on the universe. This is spiritual abuse, misuse. Um, oh, yes, you are the problem. You have cancer, you are the problem. You have to understand this is not true. What is true is that your unconsciousness is attracted, because of your childhood patterns that you have developed, to be more attracted by people that are repeating the pattern from your childhood, because you want to understand what happened and you want to heal. And this is the healthy thing. So, in a way, a pattern is something good. Yeah.
Super, super powerful, Mary. And of course, if our listeners would like to connect with you and get access to freebie, how they can do that.
Yes. I have a freebie on my website. I can maybe give you the link. My website is mariebirtel.com, and you can get this, you can download it there. Yes, and then work through it. And as I said, I work with clients from all over the world in English, in French, and in German. And I support a lot of women at the moment, because it's a lot of women who are the survivors and the strong fighters for this topic. Mm.
Lovely, lovely. I'll make sure to have all the links and details in the show notes. And Naki, thank you so much for bringing your heart, your story through Emma and your insight to this space. And then definitely your work, it reminds us that naming the pattern is the first step, but choosing freedom, whether it's through sadness or grief, is the real act of courage. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much.
A- And to all of our listeners, if you are walking through the fire of letting go or slowly, gradually realizing that you deserve peace over pain, this conversation is your sign to begin with. And Marie's book, I Love You When, is available in both in English and German, and I highly recommend it. You can refer to the links in the show notes. Until next time, stay mindful, stay brave, and remember healing isn't linear, but it's always worth it. Thank you.